You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 216 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Well, hello gang, back at you with another exciting episode of the Soul Forge. I'm your host Sean, as always, and this week I thought we would have a more lighthearted, more fun episode. The last week episode and the week before that kind of turned into more heavier topics than, well, I guess not than we need, but sometimes we just need to turn it around and have some fun. So that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to be talking about fun childhood memories, fun things that I did as a kid, and just a little bit of reminiscing and positivity. Why are we doing that? Well, next Friday is my 45th birthday, and I've been thinking about that a lot, and it's a milestone of sorts. It's not 40, it's not 50, it's not 100, but it's 45, nice round number, and so it got me thinking about all the birthdays that I've had, and I've already done a birthday episode, maybe even more than one, and so I thought instead of doing a birthday specific topic, let's just do something that is a result of having a birthday and being alive and being born and whatever, and we'll talk about memories and things that I used to do as a kid. Now, I'm just noticing as I'm talking that the sound quality in this room may be a little bit different. It's kind of empty. I've been doing renovations here because of the flood that we had more than a month ago, and I've got most of the carpet ripped up. The bed is taken apart. All I've got in this room right now is my computer desk and my printer and some shelves on the wall filled with Eagle Moss starships and other things like that. So mostly it's empty. The renovations are coming along. They're taking a little bit longer than I want them to, mostly because it was difficult to get tools, borrowing those from friends and whatnot. And I'm tired because it's summertime and it's been super hot. So it's just taking me longer than I would like it to. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's talk about some fun stuff that we used to do as kids. Not we, because it was me, just me, not you guys and girls out there in podcast land. Maybe you did some of these exact same things. Maybe not. If you did, and we share a common bond, why don't you write in and tell me about it so we can reminisce together. soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. And just to get some other business out of the way first, Etsy shop is coming along well. That's Rusted Robot Toys. And it's, as of this recording, I think this comes out, tomorrow is the 26th of August. So that'll be exactly 2 months since I started my shop. And I've made 24 sales, not enough to retire on, but still doing okay, having fun. Went yard sailing last weekend, got some wrestling action figures, because if I ever do open up that store, I want to have that in the shop, because apparently those are really popular. Who knew? Okay, childhood memories. Things that we remember as a kid. I want to talk about fun things mostly, because I have a lot of bad memories. You've heard some of those in previous episodes. But one of the first memories I have, of course, is tadpoles and Mom. We lived in Sault Ste. Marie. We lived on Third Line. A lot of the Vanderloos lived there. It was like the family street. And we had a 45-acre farm. And Mom and I would hang out quite a bit. There was a ditch at the end of the driveway, and the driveway must be 150 feet long before you get to the house because so much property, right? So I have a memory of sitting on the edge of the ditch with Mom, looking at the water in the bottom of the ditch and just looking at all the tadpoles. It must have been, spring of some kind. So I don't know the year, maybe 1979, who knows, I can't say. But I have a memory of that. And then Mom said, hey, it's going to rain. And I didn't believe her. But we started walking back to the house, and sure enough, it began to pour. And so we ran to the house holding hands and laughing. And that's something that we would often talk about and just remember. And that's from decades and decades ago. But it's a good memory of Mom. In the same house, what she would often do is take her cast iron skillet, take a brick of cheese, cut it up, and heat it up on the stove. And then we would go upstairs to the bedroom, and she would have a tea towel, and she'd have the hot, steamy cheese in the pan on the tea towel, and we would sit on the bed, watch TV, and eat the melted cheese with a fork. I know we did that several times. I don't remember the occasion or what it was about, but just things that Mom and I used to do before my brothers were born and before the parents got divorced and all that kind of stuff. So that's just good stuff. Early memories of Mom. Those are precious. So moving right along, what we should do is do the vaccination promo from the ESO network. Here you go.
Welcome to Dr. Geek's Laboratory.
Dr. Geek here with another reminder that the ESO network is pro-science and pro-vaccine. We urge you to be a superhero and protect yourself, your family, and your fellow geeks around the world. Don't be fooled by the forces of evil and their anti-science misinformation campaign. Consult the latest CDC guidelines, your doctor, and get the COVID vaccine today.
Okay, there you go. And as of this recording, I've got both vaccinations. I got my second dose 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks! And so I guess I'm fully protected, even though I can still get the COVID and pass it on to other people, apparently. But that's beside the point. Why don't we play another promo for another podcast, since we're playing promos?
For the past 12 seasons, Mike and Mike have been bringing you a weekly look at all things geek, with reviews, discussions, interviews, and topicals from across the geekosphere. Now, with geek life slowly returning to normal in 2021, join the Earth Station 1 crew as we look at the return of the summer movie season, preview the fall TV lineup, look at all the big conventions now happening, along with other geek topics. You can listen to Earth Station 1 wherever fine podcasts are found, and as always, Earth Station 1 is a founding member of the ESO network.
There you are. Hope that was awesome. I don't know what I put in there yet, not till I edit this later this afternoon. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go check it out. And that's great. Okay, so what else did I used to do as a kid that was happy memories? Here's a weird memory that I have. I think I was probably, maybe 6, because Curtis is the next brother in line, and then Robin. And so I was born September 76, and Curtis was born December of 1980. And at this townhouse that we lived at, I can't remember what the reason for it was, but Curtis had to take every day some kind of weird medication, had a funny taste to it. It was in an eyedropper, and he was supposed to take one eye drop every day, I think it was. I don't remember the details, but I do know that I was super jealous of my brother because he came along, he took away my mom time, he had to play with my toys. It was just bad, and for years and years we had a horrible relationship. So I tried to kill him. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I took the eyedropper and hid under the table with him, the dining room table, and he liked the taste of whatever this medication was. So I kept feeding it to him and feeding it to him and feeding it to him, and gave him way too much. And then I realized, maybe I don't want to kill my brother. So I went and told Mom, and I said, Curtis just drank a whole bunch of this stuff, and I don't think he should have. Of course, I wouldn't blame myself. So he had to go to the hospital and get his stomach pumped. And I felt bad, but I was also happy he had to go through the torture because he had come along and he had ruined my life, obviously, because it wasn't just me and Mom anymore. And I was super upset about that. So tried to kill my brother. Didn't kill him. Saved his life, actually, instead. But it was my fault that he was going to die in the first place. So, yeah. I don't know if he remembers that. It was so long ago. And yeah. Anyway, Curtis, if you're listening, sorry about that. What else did I used to do? Let's see. Oh, so many fun things. One of the things that we used to do is go camping at Beals Lake, which is about an hour and a half from Sault Ste. Marie. And we'd go every summer. And my grandparents would take me. That's my mom's parents. Bumpa and Dee Dee is what their nicknames were. I've mentioned that before. And so we'd always go to Beals Lake, and it was owned by some American friends of my grandparents, and we could camp there. It's been sold off years and years ago, and somebody lives there on the land. But we used to go all the time, and there'd be swimming, and they would, after I would go to bed, they would catch crawdads or crayfish for me, put them in a tin can, and so I could play with them in the morning before letting them go. That was great fun. All kinds of other kids would be there, and it was just so much fun. We'd paddle around the lake. We'd have fires and marshmallows, and there was a garbage dump that was meant for the campers. And so we'd go walking through the forest, and we'd look through the garbage dump, and just so many things like that. Speaking of garbage dumps, that's another thing that I guess was fun. After the parents divorced, Mom later met my stepdad, Doug, but everybody knew him as Cannon because he was a wannabe biker, and that's Robin's dad. And so what we would used to do with him is we would go to the garbage dump because we lived just outside of Sault Ste. Marie in a little place called Goulet River, probably 20 minutes from town. And there was a garbage dump out on the rural road there. And we'd go to the dump probably almost every weekend, and we would see what we could find. And I remember one time he found an old wooden boat with a hole in the middle, so he took his glue gun and some pieces of wood and repaired the boat, I guess you could say. And I guess him and Curtis went out on the river one time, and they almost died because obviously the job that he did repairing it wasn't good. What else? I can't remember anything specific from the garbage dump treasure hunting, but I know he always used to try to pick up old bras and underwear and give them to my mother, and she'd have none of that. She hated the dump. I don't know why they were ever together. They weren't really compatible. Very strange. But that was one thing we used to do. Another thing we used to do is we'd drive up and down the highway and look for beer bottles and beer cans to take them back to the store. Now, I thought it was just a fun thing that we used to do just for entertainment purposes, but apparently they actually needed the money because we were that poor, and I had no idea. Yeah, there was some pretty tight times that I found out later. They used to have to buy food from Zellers, which is kind of like a Walmart, but a Canadian version, and she'd put her groceries from Zellers on the Zellers credit card because they couldn't afford to pay the bills. So yeah, it was really tight, but as a child, I didn't know that, and we were just hunting for beer cans to take back to the store and get some money, and that was a lot of fun. What else did we used to do? Let me think.
Hey, podcast fans, Spotify is making it easy for you to stream this podcast and many others like it on your mobile device, desktop app, and smart speaker. Open the app on your mobile device or desktop, click on the browser channel, then click on the podcast section. You'll be able to stay thoroughly entertained during your commute to work, your drive home, and your downtime, thanks to Spotify.
Well, with my grandfather, other than the camping, he used to take me to open AA meetings. So that was the thing that we used to do to bond. We used to go to camping. We used to walk around the Sioux Locks and look at the flowers and the old shipwrecks and just walk and look at nature and look at the fow-fows. That was his name for flowers because he always had weird names for different things. So we did that. We used to go to Bellevue Park, and he'd sit in the car while I played in the playground. And then we'd walk around the locks and look at all the old ship parts and the anchors and all kinds of fun stuff. And there was animals there back in the day. That was fun. But the thing that we used to do the most was go to AA meetings. They were open meetings, so anybody could go. Couldn't go to the closed ones. That was just for the alcoholics. But I was usually the only kid. And I would listen to the stories and be like, wow, that guy's lived a lot of life. And that's a scary story. And that's a good cautionary tale. And I was too young to really understand everything, but I was soaking it up. And even to this day, I'm not a big drinker because I guess I was programmed not to be. But that's where I learned to drink coffee, because during the break you could go have coffee. And so that's what I learned to drink. And they had all kinds of things. They had sugar, and I think they had sugar cubes, and they had carnation instant milk, and they had Coffee Mate powder. So I would put all the things in and have this really strongly sweet cup of coffee, and it was just like candy, and I loved it. And when I didn't have coffee, we would stop at the corner store first, and I'd get a can of Five Alive or something. So that was something that we used to do. And during those meetings, my grandfather would often carve popsicle sticks, and he would make usually propellers, because he was a pilot. He made me a rifle. I still have it somewhere, and just different things. And we would just hang out, and I would learn about the history of his friends, I guess. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Not a typical thing that a kid would do, but there it is. Other things that we used to do. I think there were 3 occasions where my dad took me and Curtis down south to have a vacation. 3 times. One time we went to Boblo Island, which doesn't exist anymore. We went to Canada's Wonderland, and we went to Cedar Point. And those were great trips. Lots of fun, lots of waiting while we were driving, but still good times. Had a lot of fun. What was it? Which one was it? I can't remember which one it was. It might have been when we went to Wonderland and we went to the Toronto Zoo, and that's where the rarest tiger in the world sprayed me with its spray. I don't know, it was pee or marking scent kind of thing, but it was the rarest big cat in the world. I think it was a black and white one, but I can't remember exactly. And yeah, that was gross, but we still had fun. We went on rides and really enjoyed ourselves. What else did we used to do? I used to sell toys to the neighborhood kids, and I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this quite a bit, but yeah, that's the thing that I used to do. We lived in an apartment complex, 26 Terry Fox Place, apartment 203, from 1987 to 1994. Yeah, 7 years we lived there, and there was like 7 or 8 different apartment buildings all in that same complex. And so I would make things out of popsicle sticks and beer bottle caps. So like popsicle stick and beer bottle cap coasters for drinks, and ashtrays, and all kinds of different things like that. And I would sell those to the neighborhood kids, and they would give them to their parents. I'd also sell old toys and pretty much anything that I could find. And surprisingly enough, that's what I'm doing now when I go to yard sales and going through my own stuff and picking up stuff and selling them on Etsy and on the Facebook Marketplace and all that kind of stuff. So as it turns out, I've always been an entrepreneur, always enjoyed selling. That's a big thing that I always like doing. What else do I have on my list here? Let's see. Not too many more things. New action figure shopping. I used to go to Byway and pick up the brand new Star Trek action figures, $7.99, and with tax came to $9.19. I still remember that 26 years later. So that's a thing. And then when we lived in the apartment for those 7 years, the 3 of us brothers would play with all the Ninja Turtles, and we would make bases. I used to collect beer bottle caps. I had so many, like thousands of them, and we'd make beer bottle cap roads for our dinky cars and for our Ninja Turtle battles. And we used to just, I don't even know why I collected beer bottle caps. I've always been a collector of just random weird things. So there you go. That's what I used to do. And dinky cars we used to play with, and I used to make Curtis smash his dinky cars, and I would keep mine in pristine shape because I wanted his to look battle damaged, and so he would hit them with rocks. And that was probably not a good thing, but I didn't want to wreck my stuff. But because he was 4.5 years younger than me, I could convince him to do all kinds of things like that. What else do I have on my list? Let's see. Cedar Point, Wonderland, Boblo Island, new action figures, selling to kids. Yeah, that's it. Those are some of my random favorite memories from when I was a kid that are not traumatizing. Because I could do a whole 5 or 6 episodes on my traumatizing childhood, but I'm not going to, because I wanted to have a positive episode this week. Next week, like I said, there's going to be another episode. I'm hoping to have a guest this time. I almost had 2 or 3 different guests this week, but the scheduling and timing didn't work out. So there you have it. Next weekend, no, Next Thursday will be a surprise. Next Friday is my 45th birthday. 45, just like a record. Spin me right round, baby, or whatever that song is. Anyway, I'm just rambling now because it is time for me to wrap this show up and get the heck out of here. But I do thank you for listening. If you could leave a 5-star review in the iTunes store or whatever podcatcher you're using, that would be mostly appreciated. Check out Rusted Robot Toys on Etsy. Go to Ko-fi.com/Rusted Soul if you'd like to leave me a 5-star review. No, I'm just making stuff up. If you'd like to leave a donation for the show, it's always appreciated. But anyway, just enjoy your weekend, take care, and remember, isn't it nice to think that tomorrow is a new day with no mistakes in it yet? Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
So I wanted to remind you once again that you can listen to this show and other podcasts on Spotify. And now it's easier than ever. Just open the app on your mobile device or desktop, click on Browse, and then click on the podcast section. It works on your computer, your phone, your smart speaker system, whatever you want to use. So stay connected to your favorite podcasts and never miss an episode using Spotify.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.